I'm Antoine Lemaire from the Real Democracy Luxemburg group. Here at the Forum IndignaCtion. We are here as Indigné Luxembourg, Occupy Luxembourg. We are all at the beginning inspired by the 15th of May movement in Spain. There was a Spanish girl here and she really had the momentum going, so people started meeting, just a few people on the square, and in that square at the beginning there were very few of us, very few of us, and so at the beginning it was just a circle and we were just talking and people got their email addresses, and then we started meeting a bit more regularly in public always. And at the end we managed to get quite a few people and some protests. It was usually in coordination with the international movement. We decided to work on trying to get some working groups going on different themes. And I think this was a bit, it was good because we were thinking about ideas and we were thinking about what the problems are, and the idea was to get a charter at the end. But the winter was very long and the groups got smaller and smaller and smaller, and the movement was really beginning to die, I would say. So when the Abbey of Neumünster offered to do this, event, I saw it personally as a great opportunity to try to get people back together and to have new ideas, basically, because I felt that here in Luxembourg the model of occupying La Place d'Armes, as we call it, or doing actions against the banks, we weren't getting any positive reception from the people, because, well, everyone is quite comfortable. No one has a real incentive to go and go down into the street, and they're not reminded of the problems. Everyone knows that the problems are there. Including that we live in a fiscal paradise, but everyone who lives here, so here now I'm maybe talking about all the people who live here, who come from Luxembourg, and the people from abroad who come to work in Luxembourg, so who work in the financial institutions, in the European Commission. Well, they're not going to go and protest in the street because they're living from this system. So it was really difficult to get people interested. Now there are also a lot of people who don't work in these institutions. There are a lot of workers who come from Portugal, especially Brazil, Mozambique. So 50% of the population in Luxembourg is foreigner. But still it was difficult. Because the workers, well, their life is not as, they don't have as much money and they're not as comfortable, but they're still able to enter this consumerist society which gives them everything, and they don't feel like their lifestyle is being threatened. So when the Abbey of Neumünster offered to do this event and asked us if we would be interested in supporting it, then I personally was very positive about it, because I thought, okay, we need to find a new model, and now that someone is coming from the outside with a new idea, then we should take this idea and see what happens with it. So that's why we're here now. And in the Indigné movement, in the Real Democracy, sometimes it's been a bit well, there was a bit of a discussion about this event because people saw it as too institutional, because it's being put up by the Annalyn Foundation, and the government was saying that maybe they were going to fund it, etc. Now, we know now that the funding never came except from the Annalyn Foundation, but people thought it was way too institutional. So even guest speakers that we invited wrote back saying, no way, I'm doing this, like this is this is shit, basically, there's no way anything is going to come out of this, it's way too formal and everything. So then with the Abbey we talked about who we would invite, and they asked us to get our contacts and invite people, and they asked us to be present and also what kind of format we would use. And so we came up with the idea of the open space format. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it all open space because of funding, funding pressure, so the funders. Some people don't necessarily believe in the open space format and how a non-formal, everyone sitting in a row listening to the person who knows everything and is going to tell us how we should do things. Some people still believe that that's the way we should do things and that you have experts. And so in a way, this institutional, the fear we had, some people had about it being too institutional, did arise. But at the same time, we have managed to do some open space sessions where the subjects were totally free and came from the participants. Now we just have to see what the outcomes will be, because when it's open space, it's obviously up to the participants to get something done in the end. So we're going to see what happens. So the different subjects we talked about here, so there were different, there were two formats. So the normal format, where we're all sitting in a room listening to people and a little bit of question and answer. So yes, just ideas of how to resist against and their experiences, basically. Then in the open sessions, well, there were loads of subjects that came up. Some happened, discussions happened, sometimes it didn't happen because there was no interest. So, but that's how it happens. So I think the ones that really did happen, there was one group that was quite big about religious groups and the Salafists in Egypt, and that was convened or like initiated by an Egyptian Salafist. So that he really wanted to share his experience and talk about it and be ready to be questioned about it. Someone talked about, well, a group talked about violence or non-violence. Another group talked about smash capitalism and then what? Another group talked about the problems in Syria. So it's been really quite varied. Now, what will the results be? I don't know. But what I expect for me, at the end of yesterday, the first day, I thought, well, if everything stops and fails from now, it doesn't matter, because we at least had one great day where everyone could meet and share experiences. So for me, well, what I expect, I try to expect nothing, but the reason I'm supporting this event and participating is so that people can meet, basically, and that networks can be created. And that experience can be shared, because I think there's only good to be gotten out of people meeting face to face. I know that we're talking about the Facebook revolutions and everything, but still meeting face to face is more enriching, I think.